Hello everybody and welcome back to Faeria. We're here to play another game and I thought we'd try a newly constructed green deck. Now I was lucky enough when opening the card packs to get a few legendary cards. I got Ruin the Relentless and I got Magnus, King of Maravel. And I thought I'd try to build a green deck centered around these two and a few other really expensive cards. So the bulk of the damage in this deck will come from these expensive cards, and the cheap cards here, the Walk on Dive, Hold the Line, Seedling, Flower Silk Fairy, Safeguard, and the Queen's Assassin, Wood Elemental, are mainly here to stall the game, to try to buy time, gather Faeria, and make sure that I can get at least something of these more expensive cards out, such as the Groove Guardian, the Verduran Force, Oak Father, Ruinin, and Magnus. So, let's try it. Okay, here we go. So this isn't a great starting hand at all. I mean, this is the detriment of having a lot of expensive cards in your deck. I would like to have something to play on turn 1. So let's see if we can get that. Wood Elemental, close enough, could be played on turn 2. So I think we'll start off with the Forest Tile there, end turn. Next turn we'll play a Forest Tile here and the Wood Elemental, if we do not draw into a Seedling, for example. Okay, so very aggressive start from my opponent here. Tries to control the center, tries to make a move towards my orb here. But we'll try to play it patiently. We can play another Forest Tile here. Now I basically need to gather Faeria from both of these wells. And it seems like my opponent wants to do the same. Oh, interesting. So 4 health, so my Walk on Dive isn't any good. But I will, however, play some neutral lands, some prairies, to get a few lands out. I'll play one there, and I will play the Groove Guardian here. In lack of a better creature, if I had something cheaper, that would have been fine, but I'll play the Groove Guardian to gather Faeria. Now, since we're both, I think, playing a patient game here, this indicates that the opponent is in no hurry. This will just get stronger by each turn. And a Seedling as well. That means that I might have to be a little bit more aggressive than I had thought. I was under the impression that this land building towards the middle was an aggressive move, but I'm guessing now that it isn't, but rather that my opponent is just building towards the Faeria wells. Now, the Seedling could be a problem if it's left alone, and I think it's well worth it to use the Walk on Dive, spend 1 Faeria to get rid of it. I think that's 1 Faeria well spent. And I also think that I should make my way towards the Wandering Monk, because the Wandering Monk could also potentially be a problem in the near future. So I think that's best accomplished by building there, and I think it's perfectly fine to put a Seedling here, and potentially I could buff my Wood Elemental with an Elderwood Embrace, because next turn the Wandering Monk will be a 3/4, which could kill my Wood Elemental, so I think it will need some help. Let's do that and call it a turn. Now I'm out of Faeria, unfortunately, so I will not be able to play the Verduran Force next turn. I will gain 3 Faeria and 1 from each Faeria well, so I will have 5 Faeria. And I would like to place a forest tile here in order to be able to summon creatures a bit more aggressively. So I can't use my next turn to gain Faeria. Okay, Grove Guardian. Of course, a clever way to make sure that the Wandering Monk is okay. And an Elderwood Embrace on top of that. So this is a problem, because even with the Safeguard, the Wood Elemental cannot withstand the Grove Guardian, or rather, of course it can withstand 1 hit from the Grove Guardian, but that will only put the Grove Guardian down to 6 health, so the next hit the Wood Elemental is done for and the Grove Guardian still stands, so that's not a good play. Rather, I would perhaps be better off retreating here, perhaps trying to make my way up this way, but the Grove Guardian there is it's a strong creature. So, what to do? I do think that I'll save my Faeria. I will move up here. With my lands, I have the ability to summon creatures there next turn. I can go back a bit and play it patiently for now. Let's do that and see what happens. So these were either placed aggressively to make way towards my orb, or defensively to hinder me from placing another forest tile here. Could be either of those, but the Wandering Monk is beginning to be quite strong, and the Grove Guardian is a potential threat as well, so I do not blame my opponent for taking the offensive at this point. So let's see, another seedling. Now the Verduran Force is a potential play there. I could play the Verduran Force and attach a Safeguard to it. That would in fact make it withstand 1 attack from the Grove Guardian, and the Grove Guardian could after that be finished off by the Wood Elemental. And it could of course withstand an attack from the Wandering Monk. So I mean, that's not a bad play, not at all. But it's not a perfect play either, I think. I could also potentially gain 1 Faeria and play another seedling. Then I'm out of cards, unfortunately. The opponent would have a card advantage, but I still think that's reasonable. So let's do that. Play the Safeguard and place another seedling here. And end turn. Now I could have moved these 2 back. I didn't, because I'm actually right now okay with the Grove Guardian attacking my Wood Elemental. But I don't think that that will be the case. No, that's far more reasonable. but this puts the Groove Guardian down to 3 health. Of course now it's out of reach of my Wood Elemental, but I can still begin to play more aggressively. I can potentially draw a card next turn, which could be played here. Let's see. I can have a 6 Faeria next turn with the Faeria wells included. And I think I'll save up for the Oak Father. And the question now is how I should treat this Groove Guardian. I mean, I could attack it with both the Wood Elemental and the Groove Guardian, which would leave both of those standing, but this Groove Guardian would in fact not be around anymore. So I think that's fine. It's a way of biding my time and try to get one of my more costly creatures out, such as the Oak Father. Now the question is, should I advance a bit with the Seedling as well? I think it's fine to move up there, and I could keep this Seedling here, I think. That gives me the opportunity next turn either to go here and grab some Faeria, or if I want to go offensively with the Groove Guardian, and the Seedling could follow. So, a lot of forests. Could potentially be a creature summoned here, or the opponent is aiming towards getting a lot of forest to play, for example, an Oak Father. Which would be a bit problematic, because I do not have any strict hard removal cards. Now the Therian Golem is a great play for the opponent actually. It's problematic because it has such a high health pool. Okay, what to do? Now, if I could draw into an Elderwood Embrace, that would be really great. So perhaps instead of playing a land, I should draw a card and hope for an Elderwood Embrace. That would be... Yes! Fantastic! An Elderwood Embrace. And this gives a creature +2/+4. And it will in fact place my Wood Elemental out of harm's way from the Therian Golem, as it would take it up to 6 health. So let's do that. And then I can finish it off with this. And I can gather some Faeria with this. And now the question is, should I try to advance with the Seedling? I think I will in fact wait until next turn, when I can play the Oak Father here. So I think that's a reasonable play. So let's do that. This seems to be turning into quite a long game. We're both playing patiently. Let's see what the opponent spends the Faeria on. A Verduran Force. Okay. That's of course a bit problematic. since I would ideally not want to lose all my creatures, but this to take out this and this would in fact cost me all my current creatures. But I could play the Oak Father here, and I could play still another as seedling, but I could not in fact play the Wood Elemental as well, so I could not get coverage for both of these Faeria wells. But I still think that this is what needs to be done. I would rather clear the board and play an Oak Father there. I will fill up a forest here to gain some more health. I will play the Oak Father. I'll use this to get rid of that. I will in fact get rid of that as well. And I could play the Wood Elemental, or I could play the Seedling. But I think that I will in fact play the Seedling here. This will free up some more Faeria next turn, instead of playing the more costly Wood Elemental. So this means that I can potentially play a 6-cost creature next turn, because I will gain 3+1 Faeria next turn. I could also choose to move the Oak Father here to gather another Faeria, but I think that it's a smarter play to try to make my way towards the opponent's orb to start dealing some damage, because I don't really know what these two cards are and what's left in the opponent's deck, so anything could come out. But nothing does right now. So the Wood Elemental is not a smart play here. Will not stop the Seedling next turn. Now I'm guessing that my opponent wants to move the Seedling back and forth here, just to grab as much Faeria as possible. I can do the same on this side, so let's do that, and let's move the Oak Father up. And now I could actually play a forest tile here. I could start harassing my opponent a bit. So I'll play the Wood Elemental there, and I will place another forest tile. And I'll do that here, just to enable more summoning near the opponent's orb. And there's nothing more I can do, so let's call that a turn. The next turn, depending on what I get, I could either use the Elderwood Embrace on either of these two and deal more damage to the opponent's orb, or I could potentially play something big. Okay, so two cards get played, and these two cards in fact do still not mean that this gets killed, but it does mean that this is out of reach for this creature. Now this is not ideal. One way of doing this is of course to use the Elderwood Embrace on this. Takes it up to 8. This means that the Wood Elemental can finish off the Grove Guardian, and I can play the Verduran Force next to the opponent's orb. Yes, I think that's reasonable. I'll move the Seedling there next. I'll use the Elderwood Embrace on the Oak Father. I will attack the Grove Guardian. I will move here. I'll gain some Faeria in the process. I'll make short work of the Grove Guardian. And I will grab some Faeria. And next turn I can play the Verduran Force there. If nothing else comes up that needs the Faeria better. Now 6 Faeria, could come out another taunt creature, could come a Verduran Force from the opponent's deck. We're at an interesting state. This is still formidable, but it's not impossible to have something to counter that. An Ancient Boar. Okay, so it seems like my opponent, rather than trying to fight this, will try to play a rush game here. I can get up to, in fact, 10 Faeria here. I could potentially get 11. I think that's it's absolutely correct to play the Verduran Force there and to attack the opponent's orb. Now I could... Oh, okay, so the opponent conceded. A big thank you to my opponent for the game, and thank you for watching. Hope to see you again. Bye!